Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We're excited to talk about how to win trust while tracking time. My name is Megan Blair. I'm the Director of Demand Generation at Hubstaff. We've got two presenters today who you've already met and know their location, but they're going to take you through some of our best practices on how to have a great onboarding experience with your time tracking tool. But also, we do have a lot of customers who are on the call today. So we'll jump inside the platform and show you ways that you can continue to reinforce those benefits of Hubstaff after your onboarding experience. So I'm going to do the honors of introducing our amazing presenters today. Andrew leads upsells and expansions at Hubstaff. He helps customers deepen adoption of our insights tool, of proof and work and automated payroll. He works with remote and hybrid teams to improve visibility and outcomes while earning that trust with our transparent data. And now we have Kyle. She's a customer success manager at Hubstaff, where she works closely with customers to help them maximize the value of our platform. She focuses on optimizing workflows, improving productivity, and supporting teams in making those data-driven decisions that will drive sustainable growth. So perfect background for what we're going to talk about today. I'm excited for these two to dive in and share their experience. They'll present. We'll go through any FAQs, so please feel free to throw those in the chat as we go. I'll be monitoring it, chatting back to you, and then we can bring some up at the end. But let's get started. Andrew's going to kick it off. Andrew, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate it. And as Megan was saying, as we go through this, I don't like to just speak at you. So definitely throw questions. Let's make this interactive. And as we go, feel free to ask anything, and we'll try and touch on that to make sure you get value out of the time. So, as I would always ask to my presenters, can you guys see the presentation? All
Good.
right.
Yeah.
Perfect. So, how to entrust while time tracking. One of the things I want to start out with is I understand how this can be sensitive because one of the things to keep in mind is we work with Hubstaff. So that means we day to day are also on the platform. We're also kind of, again, having people look at the data and make business decisions based on that. So we can understand from both sides the value of it, but also maybe kind of just the human side of things of when you first hear it, like what does that mean? And where you maybe like tense up and get sweaty palms. But we go through this every day. So we definitely understand how it can go. So we'll go through some of this stuff here first. Uh, Here we go. Why time tracking can't wait. And in here, there's going to be some pretty eye-opening statistics. As you can see, just between payroll, lost time, company inefficiencies, and what that can mean to the business can be pretty substantial. But the one that I specifically want to hit on is when you utilize our platform with only a 4 to 6% like efficiency and time savings, that alone could fully cover the cost of the platform itself. But when you think even larger than that, can really be something that drives your business and your company to the next level of growth and scalability. So, kind of looking at those, they're pretty crazy statistics, but also it shows that there's a huge opportunity for you as a business when you utilize the data and the platform at its fullest value. So, why do most time tracking rollouts fail? As we see, Michael Scott, great GIF to throw in here. Um, Really, common missteps are it's used as surveillance framing. There's vague expectations behind it. The user and them feeling lack of control. They're unclear how the data is going to be used. And the best way to go about this is reframing with transparency, teaching your employees how it helps the business and themselves control the day to day and how we make decisions. And the access, the three pillars that turn skepticism into trust, if you will. Again, transparency, control, and access. Um, does anyone in particular have kind of any moments where they felt maybe they dropped the ball or ways that they won in this area when they did a rollout? And Megan, you can let me know if anyone drops anything in the chat.
I'll report back.
All right. Um, so what are teams really worrying about? Again, am I going to be penalized if my activity is too low? Um, do they not trust us? Um, will this track everything that I do? What happens if I need a break? Um, and again, it's not the tool, it's the way that it's introduced. So even just speaking to some of these, like I said, um, it's not about trust. It's about being efficient and making the best decisions for the business and the individuals. I often tell people there's other ways to use this as a reward system as well. One of our clients I know specifically may look at it and say, hey, you know what? We know you've really been burning the candle at both ends and you've been a really high performer. And we see in here all that you've been contributing to our success. So we actually want to reward you with an extra day of PTO just to take off, reset. But we really appreciate what you're doing. So this can also be a way to reward your staff rather than have them looking at it as a scary kind of thing. Okay. So what Hubstaff tracks? Can be your time worked, breaks, idle time, any manual time entries that you need to put on in because the timer wasn't on, you forgot to start it, anything like that. Keyboard and mouse activity, which is optional. And when we say keyboard, that's not keystroke tracking. It's just activity with on your keyboard. Screenshots. Um, if you have those enabled, you can also enable it to be blurred out, just saying, hey, we see that they're doing work, but we don't need to see specifically what's on the screen. I know some people choose to do that. Um, again, to gain the trust of we're not micromanaging you or a helicopter managing you, but it's just good to know that you're working on stuff. The apps and websites that you're visiting, this can be really good just to see, hey, are they staying focused in on the specific things we need to, or what they need to be doing on a project? And then if you have a field team, we can do GPS geo tracking for work sites just to make sure people are where they need to be. It's not tracking anything when the timers stop. Like I said earlier, it's not keystroke stroke tracking. It's not monitoring your webcam and microphone inputs, files opened or saved on the device. So again, it's not getting intrusive and kind of getting too personal. So those are, again, the things that you can kind of also communicate to your employees. Um, and I think one of the emphases too here is that there's customability to this, where you can have team level or individual settings where you can set to what you think that team or that individual needs. Um, so there's that nice customability as well. Um, oops, excuse me. Here's again just a little bit of our features list. I'm not really going to speak to this because I think most people kind of know what we do, but I'll let you guys look at the list here for a minute.
Andrew, something to add too. I think, we have a lot of customers on the call today, but we also have some non-customers. So I think
Mhm.
it's important to think about what you and your team really need. And when you're shopping a time tracking tool, make sure you're looking at things like this and find the one that checks the boxes on what you need and also gives you that optionality to be able to toggle things on and off with ease. Because you might be in one stage right now, but you might be in another later on. So finding something that can grow with your company is very important. And I think having that customization and options is something that's really important to consider.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you can even look at it from the viewpoint too of, hey, if you're onboarding someone new, maybe you have some more settings around them because you want to make sure, hey, that they're really in the direction they need to as they're starting up with us, that we know they're really kind of hitting those KPIs or the metrics that you need in the beginning. They're feeling comfortable. Um, so then there needs to be less check-ins as well. You can kind of at a glance see, hey, we know they're where they're supposed to be. But also if it seems like something's off, you can check in like, hey, we just want to make sure that you have the direction that you need, and you can do some other performance check-ins just to make sure that you're getting them off on the right foot with your company.
And we do have a question in the chat.
Sure.
If the keyboard and mouse activity level tracking is optional, how does that get turned on or off? I believe that's just in the settings of Hubstaff, right? At the
Correct.
admin level, that's something that you can work on and toggle on and off. So all of the things that we have listed there should be available for you to make those customizations.
Yeah. And at the end, Kyle will actually be in the platform. So she could also just show on someone, hey, you could go in here and this is where you could change a setting for an individual or a team. So we'll have the ability, excuse me, to show you that. So messaging that works versus what doesn't work. You don't want to really say, hey, we're monitoring your activity. You want to more say, we're automating status updates and making workload more visible so we can reduce unnecessary check-ins. Kind of like I said with a new hire. Um, for the employees, you're going to have visibility into your own metrics, your own contributions to the company at a manager level. You're going to eliminate some of your blind spots and spot high performers sooner, or the need for some more coaching and performance conversations to make sure you get someone on the right track. So that's kind of the different levels that you can look at for this. Uh, as I said earlier, the three pillars of a successful rollout are going to be transparency, control, and access. You're going to shift the narrative. Like I said, it's not surveillance, it's support. It's making better business decisions. It's setting up the individuals and the business for success. And as we'll see a little bit later, one of those that I always like to reference is we all hate unnecessary meetings where we feel like we're wasting our time. Why am I even in this? We have the ability where you can see how much time is our team spending in meetings. If it's, and that will be down to percentage of time, and also show you budgetary numbers of the time spent in meetings. So you could look and say, guys, as an organization, we're having too many meetings, we're bringing too many people into them. So we really need to look at how we're doing that and really only have the main stakeholders in on these kind of conversations so that we have people more in their core day-to-day work rather than just spending it in meetings that they don't need to be and they don't feel like they need to be in. So that's another way to look at this. Um, so again, setting the expectation and not alarms. Uh, when you go live, doing a walkthrough with the team members and why certain parts of the platform are important or what you may be looking at. Every organization is different in what their expectations are. It's nice that we do have, with the Insights add-on, some benchmarks so you can generally see where other individuals in a similar role tend to fall. But every business operates differently. So you can walk through with them and kind of set the expectation of why this is important and why we look at this. You can allow for them to ask questions around what you guys are looking for. Why is this important? Why are we looking at that? And again, it opens up kind of that transparency of the decisions the business is making. Um, and then also, if you're doing one with us, you're going to have best practices and resources. It also looks like, and I'm not sure, Andreas may have a question. It looks like his hand's raised.
I don't see anything in the chat, but feel free to
Okay,
throw the question in there and I can report back.
sounds good. All right. So within this, really what I think you're going to look at, and again, you can see a lot of this stuff on here, but you're really looking for efficiency gains. You're looking for getting rid of time lost and time savings within the company. Like I had mentioned with time spent in meetings. Um, Also, on the other side, just making sure that you're keeping people on track to where they should be. I think between focus times, your activity benchmarks, productive versus unproductive time from the apps and URLs, um, you can really turn raw time and data into actionable decisions and coaching signals. Um, some of those use cases, again, being overworking, rebalancing workloads, validate process changes more quickly so that you're a more quick, streamlined, and dynamic company. Um, and then quantify costs and spend and reductions and also the scalability of the company and where you guys are winning. Um, so I think those are some of the most really important things to keep in mind when you're looking at our platform and what it's reporting. Um, and again, being transparent and open with your workforce of why these things matter and what it does for them and for the company. I also tell people one of the best ways that you can also verbalize this to your employees is this also gives them actionable data where maybe it comes time for a raise or a promotion. They can look at their own data and say, this is the type of performer I've been for the company. And since I've been here, I've been on such and such. But if you see the time that I'm putting in and these stats, it helps support them in what they're trying to do because most people don't have a career just to stay in one level and one role. They're looking for that growth. They're looking to move up. So this is also actionable data for them to support their work and what they give to the company as well.
We actually do
Uh,
have a couple of questions around that real quick,
yeah,
Andrew. How do I deal with employees who have idle time or won't submit their timesheets? How do I deal with low activity levels? I think it goes back to what you were just saying with that transparency. If they have the ability to be able to see that information as well, probably a very timely communication of reviewing that
yeah,
data together, and pointing it out and seeing, what the situation might be. But I think
yeah,
it's one of those things that Hubstaff gives you the ability to have those very timely conversations. So it's not something that you're having in an annual review cycle, right? Like you can get ahead of the problem and get on it. So again, encourage that transparency and those open conversations, and using the data to back you up. I will also say make sure you're checking benchmark data and Hubstaff against like idle time and activity levels because it's not always going to be 100%. There are times we have to step away from our computer, and that is something that is a very normal thing. So we do offer those benchmarks in there to show, it's not always going to be 100%, but what is your industry data? What does our benchmark show? So make sure you're putting the data up against those.
yeah. And I think it's all in the way that you're framing the conversation as well. Where I say, rather than always using it as like a gotcha, but hey, I wanted to check in because I've seen on the team there's been a lot of adaptation and accepting what we're doing. It seems like you're not there yet. Can we walk through it? But you can have those kind of, I'll say, coaching or performance conversations more quickly when you see that. Um, but I think on the other side, and it's the thing that we don't always want to have to think of because we want 100% of every employee to always work out. But I think one of the other ways you earn the trust of your team is there's nothing more frustrating than when you are working your butt off and you see someone not contributing and you're having to pick up the workload for them. Um, this gives you the ability to have visibility to that and to make sure that you're not putting undue stress and pressure on the rest of your team to pick up for someone that's not performing. So it gives you the ability to have those conversations as well. But it's all in the way that you're going to frame it. and the way that you communicate, and that you're, again, it's the buzzword of the day, how transparent you are with your entire workforce around what's going on. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pass this along to Kyle. She's going to actually jump into the platform and show you and demo through some of the areas. So again, if you have questions, let us know. If you have any other questions for me, feel free to specifically ping me on it. But yeah, I will pass it over to Kyle to now hop
Yeah.
into the demo.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Andrew. And I think the two questions in the chat are a very good way to segue into what I'm going to talk about. So the demo is going to show you, particularly people who are managers, what you see on Hubstaff and how you are able to use that information to engage with your team and have those conversations that Andrew was referring to, the messaging, to get that messaging correct, right? So without any further delay, I'm gonna show you a demo of the platform. And what this demo is going to walk you through is the uh, the view that a manager has and what you can actually use the data for. So here we are. I am using a manager's view for the demonstration so that this information is for all of you managers out there who have joined a call or who want to pass on this information to the managers in your team. We're going to look at three important areas on Hubstaff today for the data that managers can valuably use to have conversations with their team. The first space is the activity tab here. We're also going to be touching upon very briefly the performance widget and our brand new timeline widget. I think this is the first time we're speaking about this on a platform, so watch out for that too. Starting with the activity tab, this is a direct answer to the question that one of you guys had on the chat, which is, what do I do when the activity level is low? So the first thing is what Megan recommended, which is look at benchmarks. We'll talk about benchmarks when we move to performance, but during those lulls in activity, you could always go and take a look at what the member was doing during that period of time. If the member has a 20% activity, a 15% activity, there are a few reasons why the member could have had low activity. And one of those major reasons is being in a meeting, being on a phone call. So you are able to check screenshots or look at the apps and the URLs that they visited during that period of time to see what exactly was going on. This is to corroborate the data that you have from the activity monitoring and the screenshots to link those pieces together to actually get to the bottom of what exactly the team member was doing. And this information is going to help you have that constructive conversation with the team member saying, hey, I noticed something was off on a certain day. What can we do about it? What were the tasks that were holding you back? So those kind of conversations, right? So going back to the actual platform itself, this is one of the most important things that the activity tab allows managers to do, which is link the work that the member did with the activity levels that the member had. Please feel free to check out the screenshots. Please take a look at the apps and the URLs tracked so that you have all of the information that you need before you have a conversation with your team. So this allows you to look at the performance of a member on any certain day. This is on an individual level. You're able to see screenshots. At this point, I also want to point out that these screenshots are blurred if you're able to see them. And the blurred screenshots come from a setting, which I will also kind of touch upon towards the end of my demonstration. So you're able to blur screenshots. You're also able to turn screenshots off. It is entirely up to you at what frequency you want to capture these screenshots. You're also able to blur the URLs that are visited by members as well. So privacy is how much you want to see from your team. So it's all customizable. Andrew kind of focused on this a bit, which is how much customization does Hubstaff allow? And the answer to that is pretty high. Hubstaff allows you to pretty much customize all of our settings on whether you want to track something or not, both on a global level and on an individual level as well. So moving on to the insights part, the first widget that I want to show you is a performance widget. The performance widget is a place where managers can come to understand a bird's eye view of how their team is faring on the 4 important metrics that are tracked by Hubstaff. Again, depends on you what metrics you want to track and what you do not want to track. But if you choose to track all of them, they're all going to be contributing to what we call the engagement score here. The engagement score is a very beautiful concept. Hubstaff introduced it very recently, as recent as last year, where we are able to see a colored ring, and the ring is going to show you where your team is at in engagement. It's a very easy thing to look at. And if you see a bright red ring, I want you guys to be aware that your team is close to burnout. This tool is used by a lot of managers to understand whether they need to staff their team more, whether they need to redistribute tasks, whether they need to take something off the plate of somebody, move things around so that people are able to engage better with their work. So this is something that I would encourage managers to take a look at. The next thing that I want to show you is what Andrew was referring to earlier, which is, do I have to be in that meeting? And how many meetings is your team taking? Right. So for any period that you set up at the top, you're able to see the amount of time that is spent on the various buckets here. So meetings can pop up here under communication too. And you see that 37% of time spent in communication is a lot of time, right? So you can kind of review what people are doing. Do they have to be doing that? And then make a very informed call on whether somebody needs to be part of that discussion or not, so that, or whether they can spend their time better somewhere else. So this is the performance dashboard is something that helps managers do this. The next widget that I want to talk about is timeline. Timeline is a very new widget. So sorry, moved too fast. Timeline is a very new widget that was introduced on Hubstaff. This is probably a month old. So I want to take this opportunity to introduce you to this widget and also talk about the good parts that come with it. So you can choose to check one or more of the parameters at the top. By default, it comes with 4 checked parameters all the way to the activity level. What does timeline tell you? It's a single space where you are able to see all of your members and have a visual understanding of how their workday looks. So this was introduced after a lot of feedback from a lot of customers, and you are able to see these, as you can see here, this is a PTO. They are all color coded. The yellow ones are idle time. You're able to see manual time. So basically, you get a fair understanding of how your team has worked on any particular day. Again, this is on a team level. You're able to see one day at a time. But if you choose a certain member, you can customize the period that you want to take a look at as well. So I encourage you guys to take a look at this as well. These are all tools that are currently available for managers to understand their team's performance better and have those positive conversations with the team. Now, I'm going to pause my presentation here. The demo is going to stop here, and we're going to go and take a look at some details, and I want to share some information with you on what managers are able to do with this information. Perfect. So, Andrew, could we go back to the deck, please? Sorry.
And just a time check, we are at time, but if we can hit like a couple more minutes, I think maybe we can go over and we'll send this recording out so everyone can catch. If you have a hard stop, you have to jump, we'll get the recording to you.
I'm going to be very quick. So whenever you're ready. So we could go ahead to the next one. I think I already covered most of this. This is actually my favorite slide of my demo today, which is, as a user, what do you get from Hubstaff? Now, we did speak about how users feel slightly disconnected on Hubstaff, where we feel that, oh, it has a lot of data from a manager, but what does it give me? It gives you a lot. And I want to take this moment to share this information with you because I've been having conversations with a lot of my customers recently with their teams and doing training sessions to help members leverage the tools on Hubstaff to get the most of the platform, right? So I've put together a set of things that Hubstaff offers, and I'm going to draw parallels between what we saw for managers and use the same tools for users and tell you what that information can do for you. So as a member, as a person who's using Hubstaff herself, before I joined the company, before I started using a tool like this, my day used to be very confusing. Like I would set off with a set with a group of tasks to complete, but by the end of the day, I would continue to work till I completed those tasks, irrespective of whether I hit 8 hours, 9 hours, whatever amount of time that I worked. But with Hubstaff, what I was able to do was understand where I was having those low activity moments, and also understanding why those low activity moments were coming. One of my customers very recently told me something very, very valuable, which is they use Hubstaff somewhat like a Pomodoro timer, like the kitchen timer that you have, which is it dings every 10 minutes and you take a walk and you come back and you feel refreshed and you're able to hit that high activity level once again. And Hubstaff is able to be that Pomodoro timer for you, right? Feel free to set up tasks. Feel free to set up, to add notes to your workday so that you are able to take a look at what your workday looked like, and you are able to understand where your time was spent. So the first part is activity. Take a look at activity probably at the end of every day. I would not go so far as to keep it logged in on one side, but I would definitely take a look at it at the end of the day. And the numbers you see there give you valuable information on how your workday went, particularly numbers such as meeting numbers. So you can see here in the screenshot, it's 66% meetings. So your day is bound to have low activity, right? You're able to make that connection and you're able to not feel stressed about why you're not having a lot of activity on certain days. The second widget that I want to talk about is timeline. Timeline is not just for managers. Timeline is very useful for individual contributors too. You're able to see when your PDO is coming up. You're able to see how your meeting has impacted your activity levels. I'm not sure if you're able to tell, but these purple bars at the bottom represent meetings in the screenshot, in the last screenshot. As you can see here, they all coincide with that lull in the activity level. So, which makes sense, right? If I'm in a meeting, I'm not really moving my mouse or keyboard a lot. So I understand why I have a lull. And then finally, we go to performance dashboard. I would encourage all of you guys log into Hubstaff at least once a week and take a look at your own personal dashboard, which I do. And I encourage all of you to do as well. And this will give you an idea of where you stand, not just vis-a-vis your team, but also vis-a-vis the same role in multiple different organizations, or with people using Hubstaff across all of these organizations who have a similar role. So you're able to tell where you stand, and it is entirely up to you to use that information to whether you want to tweak your day a little bit, whether you want to move things around a little bit. It's entirely up to you. So you can spot those time leaks and kind of fix those time leaks so you're able to get the most out of your workday. So finally, I want to close this by saying Hubstaff is a very valuable tool to understand and set work-life boundaries so you don't push yourself too much without understanding where your time is going, or without understanding why you are having those time leaks. So I would encourage all of you guys to go out there, check your dashboard, once every week or once every day, and make sure that these metrics speak to you, or these metrics help you have those healthy conversations with your managers. So yeah, that's it from me, and I hope that this demonstration was helpful to the members out there, and help you have those productive, transparent talks with your team too.
I have a couple quick more slides. If you could go forward, Andrew, one more right there. If you're ready to see Hubstaff in action, you can get ready to start a free trial. Hubstaff.com. You can get signed up. It works really great because you can also invite your team members and really dig in to get that full experience. If you have a larger team that might needs to take some more customizations, we encourage you to fill out our demo form and talk to our team. They can guide you through the right plan and onboarding for you. And if you flip one more,
And
lastly,
I'll add one thing in there too. If
oh
you
yeah,
guys are on the platform and currently not utilizing the Insights tool, I'm more than happy to carve out some time, meet with you specifically, walk through some more of that tool as it pertains to your organization specifically, and help you out to see if that might be something that makes sense for you guys.
yes, perfect. Also, for all you customers here today, we are not done with our webinars for the year. Mastering Hubstaff Payments is happening November 18th. So if you haven't checked out our payments feature, this is a great way to get a sneak peek. We'll include a link to register in our follow-up email with the recording. Thank you all for joining us today. Take care.
Take care.